Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, I'm back, and today I'm gonna be showing you something a little bit different. I'm gonna show you how I make my favorite at-home juice drink, the lemon ginger blast. This is a drink that I learned to make probably about 7 or 8 years ago on YouTube, actually. A guy named Dan, I'm not even sure what his screen name was. They called him Dan the Man. I'm sure you could find him pretty easy if you search for that in juice. And he always attributed this drink to a guy named Lou Corona, which I know for a fact that you can find here with search for that in lemon ginger blast. Do me a favor though, before we get started too far into this, if you end up finding some sort of value in this video or even just enjoying this video, do me a favor, hit that like button down below, maybe even the subscribe while you're down there as well. I would sure appreciate that. So the lemon ginger blast is essentially this juice drink that supposedly, because of the ingredients, because of the greens, because of a little bit of fruit, because of the hot pepper, whether it's habanero or jalapeno, it's supposed to be just this incredibly sort of like calming and detoxifying juice. And it's got some lemon in there with some acid, got some ginger in there for just a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm going to show you all that here in a second. I'm 1, 2, 3. Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, I'm back, and today I'm gonna show you how I make one of my favorite at-home juice drinks called the Lemon Ginger Blast. This is a drink that I learned to make probably almost 10 years ago now. Actually learned it here on YouTube from a guy named Dan the Man. I'm not sure if Dan's still around, but I certainly recommend going and finding Dan if you're into juicing. And he always attributed this drink to a guy named Lou Corona. And when you hear these guys talk about this drink, they talk about the detoxifying aspects of this drink, the calming effects, basically the healing effects of this drink. And that all might be true, but I drink it because I think it's delicious. In fact, I like it so much, it's the one recipe that I have carried with me over the last 10 years of doing juicing, right? So do me a favor though, before we get too far into this video, if you watch this video and enjoy this video, do me a favor and hit that like button down below, maybe even the subscribe button while you're there. I would sure appreciate that. So what is the Lemon Ginger Blast? What has it got in it? Well, I'm gonna show you what I put in mine. Now, you can make whatever version of this that you want, as long as it's got some sort of greens, it's got some sort of fruit, it's got some sort of pepper in it to make you sweat, detox just a little bit. Of course, lemon and ginger, as it's in the name, got to put a little bit of that, and you're going to see that here. And I'm just going to walk you through my process, my recipe, and even the juicer that I use. I'm going to show you that. And I'm just going to walk you through the whole thing. I'm going to make a couple of things of juice. I'm not going to do it in real time. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so we can get to that end and I can show you the juice. By the way, at the end of this video, I actually end up smashing one of the jars of juice with the power of my hands. Hence the Band-Aid, my thumb went right through the glass. I guess it's a special ending at the end of the video. So, whatever. So let's get started on the video. Let's make some juice. All right. So I wanted to do this video like this because the juicer is really loud, and I thought there was no way that I would be able to speak over it and be able to be heard very well. So I'm doing something a little bit different here. So this is the juicer that I have had for now almost 10 years. It's an Omega juicer. I think they call this a masticating juicer because what it does is it takes everything, including leafy greens, and just like squeezes the snot out of them. Like it does great. This thing has held up unbelievably. So here's my ingredients for the Lemon Ginger Blast. I'm going to use all that arugula, most of this spinach. That's all going to go in, and then you can see here like there is the jalapeno pepper. Usually I use a habanero, but for some reason I can't find them right now in season, so any pepper that's hot would work. There's some ginger root, that weird looking thing, some cucumber. Now I've got my parsley and cilantro. I do this, I always do it a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 cilantros, 1 parsley for just about every juice that I do. I put this entire thing in there just like, well, I take the wrapping off, which is probably smart. And then I take just a bag of apples and 2 lemons. It's basically the same thing every single time that I make this juice, but that's what it looks like. All of that is gonna go in. Now the cucumber, see, here's the thing with juicing and cucumbers. Cucumbers don't actually add a lot of flavor. what I primarily use the cucumbers for is for volume because they are very juicy, for lack of better terms. So I just use one cucumber just to add more juice in. I don't know why I started to do these lemons like this, where I peeled them with a knife. It's just a habit I started several years ago. I just found it easier than trying to physically do them with my fingers and getting the juices in my cuticles and my fingernails. So here I am, I'm just prepping everything. I peel, of course, the cucumber, especially if it's not organic. It's got a lot of wax and stuff on the outside of the peel. If it's an organic one and you just pulled it straight from your garden, you can leave the peel on, but I get mine from Walmart and you can just squeeze it and you can feel your hand kind of stick to it. That's like a wax that they put on it to preserve it. So there's the jalapeno. Again, I prefer habanero, but I'll take anything that's kind of hot. And I have already rinsed all the apples off. I've already rinsed the cilantro and parsley off. This thing here, I mean, this apple slicer deal, it changed my juicing life once I figured out this was actually a thing that existed. Instead of cutting each one at a time with a knife, you just kind of do it once and it goes and cuts the whole thing up. It's really easy. So now I'm going to actually start putting some stuff in here. Now, usually whenever I start juicing like this and it's got a lot of greens in it, greens are not the most lubricated food, right? So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually start with some fruits, just a little bit, just to kind of get the juicer lubricated. That way, whenever I do the leafy greens afterwards, it just seems to go easier if I started off with something that has more volume and more juice to it. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to start dropping some lemons in here in a second. And then just a couple of apples. Usually I save my apples till the very end. I predominantly do greens and then I do the fruits at the end, just kind of habit for that. So I tried to kind of shoot this in a way where you could see the actual spinning of the, I'm not even sure what that piece would be called, grinder or crusher maybe. I don't know, but you can kind of see how it takes some of these fruits. Some of them, it'll actually grab on its own and push it through. Some of them, I've got a little tool that came with the juicer that you can just take it and kind of push it down, and you'll see me do that here in just a second. I've sat the ginger root on top. The ginger root I do also peel. They say to take about a knuckle's worth of ginger and put that in there. I've never found ginger to be that strong, so that's probably something that would be very specific to you on how much you can handle ginger, but I don't mind it at all. So you can kind of see here, there's juice coming out the bottom here, and I will do a better up close view of this here in just a little bit, so you can actually see the juice coming out the bottom just a little bit better. And you can see each one of these. I mean, it's taking even the jalapeno. You can see the juice coming off of it. You'd be surprised with these types of juicers how much juice actually comes out of certain things. I'm just taking one of these little strips of jalapeno and you'll see it. I mean, it's not like a ton, but see how it's just pouring in kind of right there. I've been surprised with different things in juicing to find out how much liquid is actually in. Like if you take a bell pepper, you'd be shocked how much liquid is actually in a bell pepper, and probably shocked at how much is actually in these greens. This is the spinach that I'm starting off with here, and the best way that I have found to do this spinach is to put as much of it as I can into the tube and then push it down. Whenever you just put a little bit in there and then try to push it down, you can actually see it coming out the bottom there. There's quite a bit of green juice, and that is just straight spinach juice, which doesn't sound great when you just say the word spinach juice, but it really is. It's once you get it into the overall juice, it doesn't taste like spinach necessarily anymore. But you can see I'm taking as many handfuls as I can and trying to kind of cram them into the tube and then pushing them all down at once. And then what will happen is the juicer will a lot of times pull that through on its own, so it'll grab a couple of leaves and it'll start to pull it, and then it'll just go on its own. So you can kind of see there I'm pushing it down, But once it's in there, see, it just kind of grabs it and goes. So this I did at normal speed just to kind of get you an idea of sort of how that looks. I'm actually going to speed it up here in just a little bit once I start doing the arugula. Arugula for me is something that I discovered with juicing. I didn't really have any sort of experience or exposure prior to juicing with arugula. Now it's one of my my must-haves. For me, it's arugula, cilantro, and parsley. Like, I'll put those in pretty much any juice I can come up with. So I'm slamming it in here. There's some cucumber. I snuck that in just to kind of help keep everything lubricated. Oh, this is still the spinach, it looks like. So I buy one of those big things of spinach from Walmart, and you can see there I didn't even finish it all because it was just a lot. But now I am cleaning up just a little bit. There is the pulp. There are some people that will try to put the pulp back in the juicer to try to get more juice out of it. I just found it does a good enough job the first time. It's not worth the effort to put it back in. There's some people that use it for composting. I don't do any of that. This is the arugula here. And so what happens is, for me, is as it fills up the first tub, there's actually a little filter in the top of the first tub. I don't like any pulp in my juice whatsoever. So this is sort of like the first filter to get some of that stuff out. And so when that first tub fills up, what has to happen is, you can see here on the video, there's a pitcher, a glass pitcher just behind the actual juicer. I'll take that first container and put it over into the pitcher and then bring it back and get some more juice rolling here. So this is all the cilantro and all the parsley, just slamming it in there. There's also something really nice about the smell of parsley and cilantro. I don't know what that is. So here's my change out. So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting the pulp container where the juice would normally leak to try to keep it so juice just doesn't happen to kind of drip out on my counter. So, you know, I'll pour this straight. And this is still primarily, this one is actually just green. Some more of the arugula, cilantro, parsley. There is no fruit in that whatsoever. It is as green and as veggie as you can possibly get. So now I'll switch them back out. And then I'll start doing some of the other stuff that I've got there. You can see in the background, I've got the apples left over. And I didn't do all of the apples still. There are more apples that I have to cut. I'm not going to put you through that torture of watching me cut all of the other apples. But as you can see here, just putting the cucumbers in, going for volume now. And that's the thing, a big difference between the fruit and the veggies is just a little bit of fruit gets you a lot of volume. But you have to have a lot of veggies for volume. You know, the leafy stuff doesn't give you a lot of juice. So that's why using a fruit for a base of some sort will give you the volume that you're looking for. You can see at the bottom of that thing just how much those apples are putting out. And there I've cut it all up. My goofy floating apple tray. So you can see again, I've sped it up, but out the bottom of that, every time I drop an apple, there's just more and more juice coming out the bottom. And then, you know, out the front of it, you can see those are just the leftovers. Basically, after the juicer has squeezed everything out of it, those are sort of just like maybe like the fruit guts, I guess you could call it. And I go through this part pretty quick. I mean, I just drop them in, push them down. This juicer, I'm telling you, the Omega juicer that I've got has never had a problem like getting bogged down. You really can't put too much in there. It'll juice as fast as I can put stuff down that tube to actually juice. And you can see here, I've actually already almost filled up that container again. Different color this time, obviously. No veggies went in. You can see it's more of a clear consistency. But this is a view that I specifically set up so you could see when I put stuff in, how it actually kind of comes out, how much comes out. So, you know, each time that you see, this is just all apple juice here. It's kind of like my juicer's going to the bathroom. It's coming out both holes. I feel you, juicer. I feel you. But, you know, that's basically what it does. And so you can see I gave it a little bit of a tip there just before I changed the containers to try to get some of the extra juice out. See, I've switched them out, put the pulp container there in the front. Now that one's empty. I put it into the glass pitcher, and now we're ready to do some more apples. And all I have left at this point is the apples. So again, what I've done is, of course, my Band-Aid's coming off. I started with, the arugula and spinach. I did one jalapeno. Again, I prefer habanero, but get whatever you can get that's hot. Cilantro, parsley, the cucumber, and then apples and 2 lemons. And this is basically there's my jar now of completed juice. So what I do from here is I take these and I put them into smaller jars. I fill those jars all the way up, and I put those in the fridge, and I'll drink those within the next 24 hours. It's green, but it doesn't taste as green as it looks.
So I was going to show you real quick, as I was preparing this last piece, where I jar my drinks, I was jarring this one up, and when I squeezed it, somehow a hole popped in it, and look at that, isn't it something? There's the glass right there. So I just lost one of my jars of juice. Luckily, I still have 2 more.
Anyways, that's it. Hope you enjoyed my video, my lemon ginger blast recipe. Thank you all for watching very much. I can't believe I lost a whole jar, but it was still delicious. Let me know if you guys got questions. Again, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If you're a juicer, tell me your recipes, but see you all.